us do not have equal talent, but all of us have an equal opportunity to develop our talents, said APJ Abdul Kalam. And what better haven of opportunities do we have than here at IIT Hyderabad, where our motto is inventing and innovating in technology for humanity. A very good evening to one and all present here. Our esteemed chief guest, Mr. Chris Gopalakrishnan, our honorable guest of honor, Dr. BVR Mohan Reddy, our beloved professor, our beloved director, Professor B.S. Murthy, deans and heads of departments, faculty, staff, students, awardees, and everyone joining us through the virtual platform. I am Purvika C., a Btech engineering science student. On behalf of the entire IIT Hyderabad family, I deem it a great privilege to welcome you all to our 14th Foundation Day, where we celebrate the successes and achievements backed by IIT Hyderabad and embark further on a journey for a brighter future. As a symbol of appreciation for all the hard work put in by the IIT Hyderabad fraternity, we will also witness awards for academic, research, and administrative excellence today. I invite our dignitaries, Mr. Chris Gopalakrishnan, Dr. BVR Mohan Reddy, and Professor B.S. Murthy to kindly grace the dais. I now request our director to welcome our chief guest and Dean faculty to welcome our chairman. Without further ado, I request our director, Professor B.S. Murthy, to deliver the welcome address and set the momentum for the day.
Good evening, friends. Wonderful to see the whole hall full after a long, long, long time. I think last 2 years we have been waiting for a day like this where we all see each other's faces. Many of you are not wearing masks, so that's also another special that we are able to see faces now without masks. And very happy to have come to a situation like this. Let's hope that there is no more waves. But people are talking about it, but let's hope that that will be, whatever comes will be much milder than Omicron, that we don't need to worry much about it. So after 2 years of virtual foundation days, so again, we are meeting today in a real physical manner, and very happy to be among all of you, welcoming all of you for this 14th Foundation Day. And we are really grateful to have such an eminent personality, Chris Gopalakrishnan, amongst all of us. He is a well-known figure in the country and overseas, for a person who has the passion to drive whatever he has taken so far in a significant manner. And we know him as a part of Infosys. We know him leading research support to various institutions, and particularly on the fundamentals. So coming from an industry and somebody supporting so much fundamental research is something which is very unique. We don't usually come across such personality. We are grateful to you, sir, for all the support that you have been giving to the Indian community at large and also everywhere else, so that fundamental research is strives and thrives as we go along. And I don't want to talk too much today. IIT Hyderabad has been doing exceedingly well. All of you know, all of those who are sitting here receiving the awards today are all the backbone of IIT Hyderabad, who have been delivering what IIT Hyderabad is proud of. And both in academics and also in research and in product development, innovations, in every aspect. IIT Hyderabad has been doing exceedingly well and trying to excel itself without competing with anybody. I always would like to say we should be competitors for ourselves. That's it, not to anybody else. And I think every year after year, we have been drawing, I think, bigger dreams and trying to achieve them. And as I always say, the dreams should be as colorful as possible. And I'm sure with so many energetic young minds all around us, definitely the dreams are as colorful as we can imagine. And I'm sure that all of you together have been striving towards achieving those dreams. And the IIT Hyderabad, I can at least assure all of you, will give all the support that is needed to ensure that your dreams come true. And, and today also in the meeting which he had with the faculty members, some of the faculty members, he was mentioning that you should think big, and never ever feel that maybe I will not get money. Can I really think big or not? Okay, as long as your thoughts are big and as long as you have passion to achieve those dreams that you have, money will always flow. I always strongly believe this, and I have been believing this for years now, that money is a small thing. As long as you have a will and a very strong passion to deliver something, money will follow you. And I think IIT Hyderabad is a strong example for that. Money has been flowing, and if you look at in the last 2 years, quite a bit of that has happened, whether it is Tihan, whether it is 5G, whether it is healthcare, you name anything, we have been able to do exceedingly well, and we will keep doing well. Okay, so with those few words, and once again, welcome all of you, welcome our chief guest and our beloved chairman, who has been always there 10 years. He has been driving this institute with a lot of, I would say, goodwill and support. And with his support, we have been doing always stretching our bar and moving forward in the direction of what we call it as excellence. And excellence should be the only motto and nothing else. And we should never ever put anything less than that. And I'm sure all of you will strive towards that. Okay. So with those few words, thank you very much and for coming and being a part of this very wonderful day that we have been waiting for almost 2 years to be together and celebrate together. Thank you very much, friends. I forgot one very nice thing that has happened very recently to IIT Hyderabad, and that a team of people who certify institutions and organizations have come to IIT Hyderabad voluntarily, actually, on their own. And they said, we want to see the system. We have heard a lot about IIT Hyderabad, and we want to see the system, whether all processes are in proper place or not. And they met every section of IIT Hyderabad, starting from academic section and so on and so forth. And they were so pleased that within 1 week after going through, they come up with 4 certificates for IIT Hyderabad. One is ISO 9001 to 2015, which is for quality management systems. Another is ISO 27001, which is for information security management. And another ISO 50001 for energy management systems, and ISO 14001 for environmental management system. And I have just come to know that this IIT Hyderabad is the only institution in the whole country which has got all the 4 certificates. Okay, so I request Shivai Garu to come forward, please, and present. Bring those certificates so that we can receive them from our chief guest and our guest of honor today on behalf of IIT Hyderabad. Somebody else. All of you are aware we have a complete waste management system as a country. Data.
Oh, maybe all go together.
Somebody else can help. One each. Thank you. Thank you very much for all. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Be careful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Shivaya Garu. To think big and to settle for nothing except excellence is something we at IIT Hyderabad strive for. We now have summarized IIT Hyderabad in the form of an audio visual for you. Hope you all like it. Now I request our guest of honor, Dr. B.R. Mohan Reddy, Chairman, Board of Governors, IIT Hyderabad and IIT Roorkee, to address the gathering.
Mr. Chris Gopalakrishnan, Professor B.S. Murthy, various other dignitaries who are here this evening, faculty, students, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to all of you. It's indeed a very memorable day for our institution. Our institute, the 14th Foundation Day, gone past 14 years. Teens have gone by. We are slowly getting to our adulthood. So certainly, I think the contribution we will see will be a lot different as we move forward. It was indeed an outstanding presentation that we saw for the last 3 minutes in terms of our achievements. What we have done from being absolutely a barren land, we're slowly seeing it to grow into a concrete jungle, all right. But I'm sure we'll also have a lot more greenery to go by. But more importantly, the contribution that we have made in terms of building an institution of this caliber. We were having a conversation earlier about the new research projects that have come in, amount of effort that's being put in by every one of you. New departments that have got created, independent buildings that have come by. We've got a research park, an innovation park. We've built our own school. We have got our own hospital, and many more. And who gets the credit for it? Every one of you who is here. It's all your effort which makes the difference. Certainly, I'd like to congratulate every one of you and also thank you for your contribution for the last 14 years. Some of you must have joined in the recent past in this journey. Some of you have been here for all 14 years. People like me have been here for the last 10 years in making sure that the institute is what it is today. So join your hands to thank all of them. For our 14th Foundation Day, we couldn't have chosen a better speaker than Mr. Chris Gopalakrishnan. Like Mr. Chris Gopalakrishnan, I also come from the technology industry. So obviously we are very familiar with each other for a number of years, including we had roles to play in CII at some point of time. He grew to become the president of CII thereafter. He's been a good friend of mine. But I think of Chris, three things come to my mind. I feel proud as what an IITian has done to this nation. It's just not that we need to think about him as a role model for IITians, a role model for every Indian. What he and his team has achieved in building an organization called Infosys, an organization which has foolproofed that with ethics, with values, with governance, they can still build an organization which is nothing but exemplary. And Chris stands out as a strong contributor for creating that ecosystem, for this nation itself. So the first thing that comes to my mind is Chris as a business leader with great amount of values. Let's give a round of applause for that. What does come to my mind? The second one is the amount of work that he has done in the startup ecosystem. It was certainly, like many of us, he was very busy building his company, but I think he got a little bit of relief from the company. The first initiative that I saw him focusing on is all about building the startup ecosystem. I think it's been last 10, 12 years, Chris, that you've been heading the CII's entrepreneur 8 years, approximately. 8 years he's been heading the Entrepreneurial Council for CII, and amazing work that they have done, which to me is an extremely important thing as much as we build institutions like the IITs. We need more amount of jobs to get created. We need more amount of entrepreneurs. And therefore, we need visionaries like Chris Gopalakrishnan. Let's give a round of applause for that. And the third one, which is very relevant for our conversation this evening, is his philanthropy. He's going to talk more about why is he investing in brain sciences. That's what he'll talk about. But much beyond that, it's just not investment, but the passion he has in terms of building these sciences. Currently, he is the president of Infosys Foundation, Science Foundation. The amount of time that he spends on it. And certainly, I think it's important that this nation has that focus in building the research, building science, to ensure that we all have a truly Atmanirbhar Bharat. So on the third thing that comes to my mind is his philanthropy. So let's give a round of applause for that too. So we are very delighted, Chris, that you're here with us today. Thank you very much for taking time to come and speak to us. Since I have the platform with me, let me take another minute or two to share a few more thoughts in what I think about what we are, what is the main, for the topic for today. Chris is going to talk about why is he investing in brain sciences. So I think what we need for mankind as we move forward is science, medicine, and technology. And I think what institutes like IITs are truly at this intersection of these three things. We have enormous amount of research. We want to bring medicine to interface with it. And finally, of course, we are the leaders in technology. Look at what happened in the last 500 years because of these three things working in tandem with each other. If you look at 500 years history, I believe the life expectancy of humankind itself has improved by 30 years. That's average about 17 years of interventions brought in, the average lifespan went up by a year. And what we have seen, forget about 500, for the last couple of years, vaccine took decades for development. mRNA from start to finish took no more than 11 months. So therefore, there is enormous play that we have in terms of making sure all these come together. And that's the big ask I have for all of you. We built a campus, we built departments, we have a number of initiatives going. I think what we need to do as we look forward is what do we contribute back to the society? What will we give back for what the society has done to us? Just to give you a flavor, not to throw a number at you, as we speak at this point of time, we spent about 4,000 crores of money, taxpayers' money, in building this institution over the last 14 years. That's not a small sum of money. And certainly, I think it's not that they just threw that money. For a good reason, that money has been spent. But I think what the responsibility back on our shoulders is give it back. Give it back in terms of monetization. Give it back in terms of the research that we're doing. Give it back in terms of contribution that every student goes and does to the industry or research. With those few words, I won't stand between you and Mr. Chris Gopalakrishnan. Again, welcome, Chris, to IIT Hyderabad. And please, platform here. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Atmanirbhar Bharat, where we're being job givers and not job seekers, is something that we all will take away. We are truly delighted to have our chief guest, the chairman of Axela Ventures, Mr. Chris Gopalakrishnan, here with us today. Mr. Senapati Krish Gopalakrishnan is the chairman of Axela Ventures, an accelerator that helps startups during the early stage of their business journey. Mr. Gopalakrishnan served as the Vice Chairman of Infosys from 2011 to 2014 and the Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director of Infosys from 2011 to 2007 to 2011. Mr. Gopalakrishnan is one of the co-founders of Infosys. Recognized as a global business and technology thought leader, he was voted the top CEO, IT services category in Institutional Investors' inaugural ranking of Asia's top executives and selected as one of the winners of the second Asian Corporate Director Recognition Awards by Corporate Governance Asia in 2011. He was also selected to Thinkers 50, an elite list of global business thinkers in 2009. He was elected president of India's Apex Industry Chamber, Confederation of Indian Industry for 2013 to 2014 and served as one of the co-chairs of the World Economic Forum in Davos in January 2014. In January 2011, the Government of India awarded Mr. Gopalakrishnan the Padma Bhushan, that is the country's third highest civilian honor. Mr. Gopalakrishnan serves on the Board of Governors of Okinawa Institute of Science and Technology as the Chairman of the Council IISc Bangalore and is the Chairman Board of Governors of IIIT Bangalore as well. He is the Chairman of the Vision Group of Information Technology of Karnataka Government and the Chairman of CII Digital Council. Mr. Gopalakrishnan is the Chairman of Itihasa Research and Digital, which publishes history of Indian IT industry as the Itihasa app, as well as reports on industrial and academic research in India. He invests in promoting research on brain sciences, aging-related disorders, as well as investing in startups and the startup ecosystem. He holds a master's degree in physics and computer science from the Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, and is also a fellow of Indian National Academy of Engineers and an honorary fellow of Institute of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineers of India. We thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with us today and encourage us. We look forward to hearing about you and your journey. Thank you, sir.
No, not listening. Thank you. Thank you, Sri. Can somebody check this? Yeah, it's okay. Thank you, Sri BVR Mohan Reddy, for the wonderful words that you said about me. And Dr. Murthy, thank you for inviting me to be part of the 14th Foundation Day celebrations. You know, I have a written speech, but I'm going to deviate from that speech. So I will start by congratulating and complimenting all of you. I spent approximately half a day visiting a few parts of IIT Hyderabad. And it's really, truly amazing to see the progress that has been made in the last 14 years. The physical buildings, everybody can see, but it's in the work that all of you are doing, the research that you're doing, the teaching that you're doing. I think the long-lasting contribution will come, and that's the reason I'm saying compliments to all of you. I want to especially mention Tihan because in some sense, I'm involved with that program of Department of Science and Technology, the National Mission on Interdisciplinary Cyber-Physical Systems. And, I was saying after I visited Tihan lab, that that visit alone made my visit worthwhile. So thank you for that.
Sri Mohan Reddy talked about what is expected from you, and I will reiterate that actually. You know, there should not be any limits to what you can aspire, what you can dream, and what you can achieve. I think you should set your dreams very high, think big, and I'm confident in saying that many of you will achieve these things in the future. And that should really be, I think, your goal. And that's what, in some sense, in one sentence, what I'm also going to talk about actually. And I will illustrate this in my speech. I'm going to talk about why I'm investing in brain research in India, but it's a broader theme you will find as I talk about. And let me just briefly talk about another lab I visited at IIT Madras, because that's part of my prepared speech. Next time I'll add Tihan in my prepared speech, actually. um, so, this lab was inaugurated in 19th March 2022, so just very recently. But even though it was inaugurated just a month back or less than a month back, they have been doing their work for the past 12 to 15 months during COVID times, of course, under the radar. The center was set up to analyze histopathological analysis of cadaver human brains. That is the cellular structure of human brains. And the center has completed processing 2 whole human fetal brains into 2,000 sections of 20 micrometer thickness at 0.5 micrometer resolution. And the reason I am giving these numbers is that this is much better, an order of magnitude better than work done at any other lab anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world. So it's a unique piece of work. Now, why would an IIT actually work with human brain and slicing and analyzing human brain? That's not what you think about IITs of. But this work can only be done at IIT because of the interdisciplinarity of the work. For doing this work, they had to actually create technology that's required to slice human tissue at that thickness. They had to create that equipment. That's the mechanical and engineering work that they had to do. They had to then, image this at such high resolutions. And there's so much processing that is required to get there because, it's in single piece. That whole brain tissue is actually full brain, that slice of the brain. And then image that at such high resolutions. Again, of course, they're using an imported camera, but they have also fabricated their own camera to do this now. Again, it can only be done at an IIT. And lastly, it's actually throwing up petabytes of data. And so storing and analyzing requires, again, interdisciplinary skills from various engineering departments, again, computer science, etc. The work, I'm confident in saying that the work done at this lab will actually further our knowledge of brain. Now, human brain is very difficult to analyze. You cannot stop the brain. Nobody has figured out how to do that unless the patient dies, right? You cannot, get inside the brain and look at, MRI is probably closest to, fMRI is probably closest. But remember that MRI is a recreation of the image. It's really not the actual image. It's recreated using mathematical algorithms, etc. So the work that is being done at the cellular level, I believe will be very, very important. Now, they are able to analyze the brain from conception, fetal brain, because they, again, India is one of the few places where you have access to these cadaver brains because people donate. So from fetal brain all the way to aging brains with various disorders. In fact, I was suggesting to somebody here, maybe if you can get an access to a Parkinsonian brain, person who has died of that, maybe we can do that analysis there also. So how the brain ages, what are the changes that happen at the cellular level? All of this now can be understood, or we can try to understand. This work is, again, at the cutting edge because it's not done elsewhere, and nowhere else they have access to this brain, and nowhere else the technology exists to analyze at the detail that they're able to do this. Now, why am I saying this? Why am I talking about Tihan, etc.? World-class research can be done. One-of-a-kind research can be done. Research at the cutting edge can be done in India. I think it's very important for us to internalize that, have the belief and confidence in doing this. So let me go back to 2014. I stepped down from Infosys in October 2014. Of course, I was not ready to retire at that point. And so I had to kind of figure out what I want to do for the rest of my life. I wanted to reinvent myself. I was sure that I was not going to compete with Infosys. That doesn't make sense, right? It's a creation, and I want to see this Infosys continue to succeed and continue to do well. In some sense, my brand is about the brand of Infosys, right? So definitely I don't want to compete with Infosys. So I decided to look at elsewhere, but horizontally, I looked at two parts, entrepreneurship and research. And to me, it's actually two sides of the same coin. Well, probably I should say research and entrepreneurship, because research and creation of knowledge, creation of IP comes first, and then translating that into products, services, businesses through entrepreneurship comes later. On entrepreneurship side, I will not dwell deeper into that because that's not the topic today. But in the last 8 years, we have come a long way. In the last 1 year, India has attracted more than $25 billion of global funding. We have 75 plus unicorns, and unicorns are now being created every day, actually. And pretty soon we'll have 200 unicorns. We are attracting foreign investment. Our entrepreneurs have the confidence that they can conquer the world. They can actually build world-class companies. They can create world-beating companies here in India. When it comes to startups and entrepreneurs, it's a portfolio approach. You have large number of new businesses being created by passionate, energetic, ambitious people, entrepreneurs. They go after funding, right? Money doesn't come easily, but they go after funding. And what has happened in the last 8 years? We are one of the third best locations in the world, so one of the best locations for entrepreneurship. We have one of the largest number of unicorns being produced. We attract large amounts of funding. We have billionaires being created, etc. Happened in a very short period of time. I think the same thing can be replicated on the research side. Think about research along the same lines. Be ambitious, think big. You will get the funding. But of course, you have to go and ask for money. You have to demand money. You have to get funding from anywhere, and you will get funding. And I'll come back to this. Now, these two aspects, entrepreneurship and research, are very important for India to become a developed economy, India to become a developed country. Myself and Mohan Reddy, we're part of the IT industry, and we have created a world-class industry out of India. Nobody believed that India could actually create this industry. And today, if you take the top 10 companies in the world in the IT services space, 5 are Indian actually. Multi-billion-dollar market caps, etc. We have also seen India go from a $600 billion economy in 1993 to today $3 trillion. That's a growth of 5 times in about 25, 27 years. Right? 5 times in the period of about 30 years, let's say. So there is no reason why we cannot think of becoming a $20 trillion economy from the $3 trillion economy that we are today, or at least a $10 trillion economy. That's about 3 to 4 times. But I think we are seeing the world grow faster. So I believe that we can aim for a $20 trillion economy, $20 trillion economy in the next 30 years, actually. And this will happen primarily through, of course, innovation, research, innovation, and entrepreneurship, new business creation, new jobs being created, our industry becoming competitive. And I firmly believe, because I've lived through this, we can indeed do that. And on the entrepreneurship side, on the startup side, it's your friends, or some of you actually, who are believing in this and are showing that we can create world-beating companies out of India. The same thing we must do on research. Research is equally important for transformation of India. We need to develop our own IP and new knowledge. Mohan Reddy talked about Atmanirbhar Bharat. It will only happen if we have our own IP and our own knowledge. The ownership of products and ideas will be the basis for the next generation of startups. And this is how actually US developed in the 20th century and became the largest economy in the world. At the beginning of the 20th century, US was about 1.9% or 2% of the global GDP. And at the end of the 20th century, US is about 19% of the global GDP, 10 times. Of course, rest of the world also has grown, but they still became the largest economy in the world. And in a sense, we all believe that 20th century was US's century. I think we need to make 21st century India's century, and I don't see any reason why we can't do that. So for us to become a developed economy, for us to become a $10, $20 trillion economy, we need to look at world-class research. And of course, the entrepreneurship is important. But there is another reason for India to get involved in world-class research for the entire world. Now, it's not just for India, for the entire world. Dr. Mohan Reddy talked about the development of vaccine. So within 48 hours of publishing the genetic sequence of the COVID-19 virus, 2 teams, one at Moderna and at BioNTech, came up with the vaccine candidates based on mRNA technology. That research actually was going on for 40 years, but they leveraged the crisis to use the technology to create that vaccine. In a record time of less than a year, these vaccines received emergency use approval, and vaccines were being administered on people. Again, record, right? The world has never seen a vaccine being developed in less than 4 years. So this was really very good. And the development of the vaccine in record time did really save the world from many deaths and allowed us to minimize the impact, especially the economic impact of the COVID-19 virus. But then when you step back and look at what has happened, the early vaccines were expensive, costing more than $30 per dose. And even more important, were difficult to transport. They required cold storage facilities at somewhere like minus 30 degrees Celsius in the case of Moderna vaccine and minus 70 degrees Celsius in the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine. This made the logistic impossible for developing countries or 90% of the world. And they can't afford to buy this vaccine also. Now, luckily for us, there were other vaccine candidates that came with different technologies like the Oxford Covishield and the Covaxin developed by Bharat Biotech here in Hyderabad. They were significantly cheaper, approximately $3 per dose, and could be transported in regular refrigerator environments. And fast forward, India has administered more than 1.5 billion doses, a poor country, we are still a poor country. And now we are exporting vaccines to other countries. This is the reason why India must get involved in research. This is the reason why India is the vaccine capital of the world and provides 70% of the world's vaccine supply. When India gets involved, the output becomes affordable and accessible to the entire world of 7 billion people. In everything that we do, right? Technology is changing quite rapidly. New technologies are emerging, and everything that we know is changing. That's why they're working on automotive systems and things like that. Healthcare is changing. Telecommunication is changing. Everything is changing. New leadership is possible, right? New companies can be created. New products and services can be created. But can we make sure those products will benefit the 7 billion people in the world? India has a very important role to play to create products and services affordable to 7 billion people in the world. And I illustrated that by the vaccine example. Now, when I decided to focus on research, research can be anything, right? So there needed to be a focus, and I chose brain science simply because it's closer to computer science or closer to computers. Interestingly, if you look back at the history of computer science, there are two basic developments that created computer science field. One is the von Neumann architecture, and second is Boolean algebra. Boolean algebra by George Boole. Now, if you look at their work, it's interesting to see that they wanted, in the case of von Neumann, he thought there are separate areas in the brain doing different functions, etc., interconnected. Memory is separate from processing, and that's how he came up with the idea of von Neumann architecture. George Boole thought we think logically, so brain must be computing in binary, right? And he developed the Boolean algebra. So two wrongs created this entire field, which transformed the world in the last 70 years, actually, because both of them were wrong. Brain does not compute in binary. It's it's not a binary, this thing. It's an analog thing, and it doesn't have separate areas for processing or storage. Processing and storage happens at the same place, at the same neuron, etc. So I decided to look at brain sciences because of its closeness to computer science, and also because there is a social angle to this. Because understanding brain hopefully will allow us to figure out why we develop neurological disorders as we age, neurodegenerative diseases. And these diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia affect a large number of people, infect a large number of people, and there is no cure, and the social cost is very high. Entire world is aging. We live longer, and large number of people will develop these disorders. So, by looking at understanding brain, can we come up with better models for computing? So today, for example, if you look at AI ML models, these are brute force. You need large amount of data, you need large computing, you need large amount of storage, and you need large amount of money if you want to run AI ML algorithms and things like that, right? Can we learn from the brain, right? 20 watts of power is what the brain consumes, weighs 2 kg approximately. And it's the best computer the world has ever seen, and we still don't understand how it does it, right? So can we create the new generation of computers looking at the brain? Maybe it's a biological brain, computing in the future. And can we also look at Alzheimer's, Parkinson's? How does the brain, how do we age, and what changes happen in the brain as we age? And can we understand when does it happen, when does it start, can we reverse it, etc. And this is at the cutting edge because the entire world is grappling with these problems. And so if we work in these areas, we can contribute definitely, and we can help solve these problems. See, more number of people work on a problem, hopefully the problem will get solved faster. So India has 20% of the world's population. We have more number of people. Can we work on this problem? Second, as I already mentioned, when India works on something, the cost comes down. So I was mentioning to Professor Murthy, my mantra when I meet foundations from abroad who fund research, etc., is that if you spend $5 on research, if you fund $5 on research abroad, spend $1 in India, and together we will double the research output. Double the research output. We have done this at some of the areas that we are supporting, because we have set up joint teams between US and India, and clearly we are doubling the research output by just spending incremental 20% more money. So I'm requesting every foundation that funds any research, and they spend billions and billions of dollars abroad, spend a little bit of money in India. And these are the ways in which I firmly believe that we can attract funding. That's why I'm confident that we can get funding. I'm trying to now go through my speech because I've deviated quite a bit from what I wrote down. I come back to why IITs are important, because this is the place where multiple disciplines, including the humanities, social sciences, etc., and more now, medicine, healthcare are all represented. The hottest areas now are at the intersection of disciplines, or at the edge of these disciplines, actually, that's where new knowledge is being created. And this is why IITs are important. We need to, I believe that every institute must set, depending on the size of the institute, let's say 5, 10, 20 big programs, really ambitious, world-class, cutting-edge programs with large teams, 45, 50, 60 PIs working on, principal investigators working on these problems. Because that kind of size and scale is required to attack such large problems. These require guaranteed funding. And this is again something that we need to talk to everybody, philanthropy, governments, etc. Don't just fund year by year. promise funding for 10 years. Don't ask any questions for 10 years. At the end, of course, you will evaluate, but don't stop the funding. At the end of 10 years, then you can go back and see whether this requires further funding. Guaranteed funding, large amount of funding, um, large teams, ambitious goals, and we can, I believe, we can do that. And if you take the portfolio approach, so let's say research is open-ended. So let's say IIT Hyderabad takes 10 different areas and 10 sets and 10 ambitious goals. I'm sure that at least a few of them will succeed, just like in the startups. If you're willing to accept failures in the startup space, we must accept failures or things taking much longer time, right? You know the story of gravitational waves, right? Einstein came up with the theory in 1920 or something, 1919 or something like that. It took the world 100 years to develop the technology to measure that and prove that Einstein was indeed right. So the gravitational waves were measured in 2018, 100 years later. So research is very unpredictable. We cannot say when it will happen. But those people, if you look at the team that worked on it for 30 plus years, 2,000 people across the world. And I think in India, I think 30, 40 people, teams across multiple institutes across the country worked on this problem for 30 years before they got the result. The world spent multi-billion dollars. But the offshoot of that, the technology, the precision with which they're able to measure something that happened billions of years ago, billions of light years away, right? Think about that actually. With precise engineering is what was achieved. And that precision will be useful in many other things. This is what, imaging will use or other measurements will use, and now we can learn in a much better how the universe came into being, etc. Right? Things that happened billions of years ago. This is what is important. This is what research is all about. This is what science is all about. And this, I believe we must attempt, not just attempt, but venture in India. And I'm very glad that IIT Hyderabad is doing it. I think we need to continue to do this. To all the youngsters here, I think you must have the confidence. In my own way, I've seen this in the startup space. I'm starting to see it in the research space. Very big programs being attempted, and funding is also. So, okay, I have funded I'll just say X, let's say rupees. Those labs have generated at least 5x additional funding. 5x additional funding. So these are not things that just I funded. They have gone out and raised funding. So funding is possible. So, in summary, of course, I am investing in brain sciences because I believe that is important to understand a particular aspect of who we are. It's important to look at new models of computing. It's important to look at diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, which don't have cure. But the larger purpose of doing this is to say that world-class research must be done in India, should be done in India, can be done in India. And I think it's very important as we look at India becoming a developed economy. It's very important for all of you because you are going to build India in the next 30 years. We have done our bit, we have reached a certain stage, but now you must take 10x of that. And that's what I wish you will do. Thank you all very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring words. We request our chairman, sir, to kindly present our chief guest a token of remembrance from our side.
Thank you. Thank you.
May I now request our chief guest, guest of honor, and our director to kindly take a seat in the gallery. We shall now begin with the award ceremony. To start with the academic awards, I request our Deputy Registrar Academics, D. Chanchala Devi, to announce the academic awardees and our Director, Professor B.S. Murthy, to do the honors.
That's true.
That's okay. Thank you, Purvika. Good evening, dignitaries, and all the members of IIT Hyderabad community gathered here and those who couldn't.
I think we just need a small stool.
It feels so nice to celebrate the academic achievements of students on the day IIT Hyderabad was born. Before I call out the names, I wish to congratulate all the awardees and also those who worked hard but couldn't make it to the list. Though I have taken care to get the awardee names right, my sincere apologies if I mispronounce any of them. Beginning with the Excellence in Academics Awards for the Btech first year. Ankit Saha, Artificial Intelligence. Ukulapu Manikanta, Biotechnology. Rutvu Kocheta, Mathematics. Tatparya Kshatriya, Material Science and Metallurgical Engineering. So there are some students, actually this BTech first year was taken in online mode. So some of the students are not present here. We'll be sending them through post. I'm reading out the names in absentia. Abhay Kumar, Biomedical Engineering. Ayush, Civil Engineering. Gnana Satvik, Chemical Engineering. Kondapalli Yoshita, Computational Engineering. Rahul Ramachandran, Computer Science and Engineering. Avishkar Behra, Electrical Engineering. Mirza Afan Ahmad Beg, Electrical Engineering. Hemang Nimma, Physics. Aditya Sridhar, Engineering Science. Anand Sharma, Chemistry. Now the Btech second year awardees. Dishank Jain, Artificial Intelligence. Ameya Chatur, Biomedical Engineering. Ishan Srivastava, Civil Engineering. Shubhav Jain, Chemical Engineering. Ayush Shah, Computer Science and Engineering. Mamad Paka Pragna, Electrical Engineering. Gaurisha Kajampadi, Physics. I think it's not pronounced or something. Next, Karthik Srinivas, Engineering Science. Tata Sai Manoj, Mathematics. Aditya Ravindra Pillai, Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering. Absent. Veeravalli Bhanu Prakash, Material Science and Metallurgical Engineering. The Btech third year awardees, Tarun Ram Mehta, Artificial Intelligence. Next, Arza Sai Vaishnavi, Civil Engineering. Anirudh Raghav, Chemical Engineering. G. Karthik Balaji, Computer Science and Engineering. Sahukari Chaitanya Varun, Electrical Engineering. Sai Bhargavi Gangula, Physics. Krishna Vishwas Kher, Engineering Science. Meet Vyas from Mathematics. Yash Praveen Lad, Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering.
Yes, yeah, I'll take it. What is
Pick later. Juttu Chandana, Material Science and Metallurgical Engineering. Now for the Btech fourth year students, Bobbala Saubhagya Lakshmi, Civil Engineering. Kritik Sarkar, Chemical Engineering. Shreyas Havaldar, Computer Science and Engineering. Puireddy Varuni, Electrical Engineering. Rajdeep Agrawal, Physics. Advai Akash, Engineering Science. Venkata Satya Pavan Kumar Vemuri, Mathematics. Purimetla Bhargav, Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering. Mannal Resevi Ulleri Thodi, Material Science and Metallurgical Engineering. Excellence in Academics Awards in the Bachelor of Design program for the first year goes to Arshia M, which is not present. Aarti GJ is also not present. BDES second year student, Churi Ishani Rajeshwar. Next, BDES third year student, Danvish Muttubi. Yes, she's also not present. Excellence in Academics Awards in the Master of Science program for the first year goes to Anamika Dikshit, Chemistry. Nived JM, Mathematics. Jyoti Sharma, Physics. MSc second year, Supriya Das, Chemistry. Vipin Kumar, Mathematics. Priyansh Jaswal, Physics. The Excellence in Academics Awards for the MTech first year goes to Vedant Bhatnagar, Additive Manufacturing. Kansaria Bhavya Jayanti Lal, Artificial Intelligence. Ivan Isaac, Biomedical Engineering. Aditya Subramaniam, V, Biotechnology. Ashwita Tadepalli, Chemical Engineering. Akshat Gupta, Civil Engineering. Rohan Singh Rawat, Climate Change. Mate Vishal Narendra, Climate Change. Desu Surya Sai Teja, Computer Science and Engineering. Ranabotu Sirija, Electrical Engineering. Saurav S. Sankhe, Energy Science and Technology. Agathian Susil R, E-Waste Resource Engineering and Management. Himanshu Yadav, Integrated Sensor System has not come. Next, Devabrat Dash, Material Science and Metallurgical Engineering. Bagani Neha Vinay, Material Science and Metallurgical Engineering. Kaushal Gujarati, Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering. S. Ananda Theerthan, Medical Device Innovation. Samyak Bahuguna, Polymers and Biosystems Engineering. Parekh Nisarg Dipendhai, Smart Mobility. Now the awardees for the MTech second year. Anupam Bansal, Additive Manufacturing is not present. Arkadipte De, Artificial Intelligence, not present. Next, Anandita Tarafdar, Biomedical Engineering. Shweta, Biotechnology. Next, Ahmad from Chemical Engineering. Next, Leo Alfanteri, Civil Engineering. Sai Venkata Sarath Chandra, Climate Change. Not present. Next is Anushka Joshi, Computer Science and Engineering. Rachapuri Sriram Sudhamshu, Electrical Engineering. Ipsita Joshi, Energy Science and Technology. Rajesh Kumar, E-Waste Resource Engineering and Management. Ram Tenki Shashi Preetham, Integrated Science Sensor Systems. Lokesh Mehlan, Materials Science and Metallurgical Engineering. Varkol Prakash Lakshman, Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering. Next, Dipanjan Sehanovish, Polymers and Biosystems Engineering has not come. Rajkumar Surana, Smart Mobility. The award for excellence in academics and Master of Arts program for the first year goes to Priyasha Chaudhary, Liberal Arts. MA second year student Arya Rajendran from Liberal Arts. Next in the Master in Design program, Ankita Tiwari from the Design Department. Ved Sanjay Waliokar, Design Department. Next, we have the awardees for excellence in research to the following PhD scholars. Rajalakshmi PS from Biomedical Engineering. Mehta Viraj Hitesh Bhai, Biomedical Engineering. L. Punoot Prasad Patro, Biotechnology, not present. Abhishek Suman, Biotechnology. Tati Naidu Kella, Chemical Engineering. It's not come. It's Kumar Mayank, Chemical Engineering. It's not come. Shubhajit Ghosh, Chemistry. Adhyasa Priyadarshini, Chemistry. Konala S. Karthik Reddy, Civil Engineering in absentia. B. Ramu, Civil Engineering.
He is the one who teaches karate to all our students. No, sir. I don't think I am fit for that.
K.J. Joseph,
Yes,
Computer Science and Engineering in absentia. Anirban Sarkar, Computer Science and Engineering in absentia. Chaitanya Solanki, Design Department. Next, Vimal Krishnan R, Design Department in absentia. Srinivasulu Kanaparthi, Electrical Engineering. Tata Supraja, Electrical Engineering. Next, Shreya Rastogi, Liberal Arts. Vineet Gairola, Liberal Arts in absentia. Reddy Kunda, Sri Kiran Janardhana, Materials Science and Metallurgical Engineering. Next, Urvashi Mahanta, Materials Science and Metallurgical Engineering in absentia. Sudeep Ranjan Bhuya, Mathematics. Tarun Dalal, Mathematics. Veeresh, Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering. Vineet Kumar Sharma, Physics. Kamal Bora, Physics in absentia. Next, we have the awardees for appreciation in research for the following UG and PG students. Arkadipta De, Artificial Intelligence in absentia. Venkatesh E, Artificial Intelligence. Abhishek Dash, Biomedical Engineering. Uppala Alekhya, Biotechnology. Anuraj R, Chemical Engineering. Ricky Anshuman Dash, Chemical Engineering in absentia. Leanda J. Payapilli, Civil Engineering. Vegalam Sahithi, Civil Engineering. N. Sai Venkata Sarat Chandra, Climate Change. Deva Guptapur, Naga Street Krishna Chaitanya, Computer Science and Engineering. Rali Saurya, Computer Science and Engineering. Ved Sanjay Valiokar, Design. Lucky Shreya from Design Department. Gaddam Akhileshwar Chowdhury, Electrical Engineering. S. Pradyumna, Physics. In absentia. Bhagwati Kasi Srinikita, Physics. Rajesh Kumar, E-Waste Resource Engineering and Management. So we have two other special awards. One industry-sponsored Best PhD in Water Resources and Allied Areas by Megha Engineering and Infrastructure Limited, which goes to Poduri Sri Lalita Sarada from Civil Engineering in absentia. And next one, industry-sponsored Best PhD in Environmental Engineering and Allied Areas by Ramki Enviro Systems goes to Jitesh Lalwani, Civil Engineering. Hearty congratulations once again. Thank you for this.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. We students are truly grateful for all the encouragement we receive from the IITH fraternity to reach great heights. I now request our Dean Faculty, Professor Kanchana V, to announce the Teaching Excellence and Research Excellence Awards, and our Chairman, Dr. BVR Mohan Reddy, and our Chief Guest, Mr. Gopalakrishna, to give away the Teaching Excellence Awards.
Saptarshi, please. Please.
Good evening to all of you. This is Saptarshi, currently Dean Academics of IIT Hyderabad. Teachers are always on the national duty. The country's next generation, the young generations, are playing in our laps. And as you know, we mentor them, we ignite their minds, and we guide them to shape up the country's future. So IIT Hyderabad is fortunate enough to have more than 250 such talented individuals called academicians. And this year, IIT Hyderabad has carefully chosen 12 out of them to confer the awards after a meticulous mathematical exercise. We have used regression methods to analyze the student feedbacks. Okay, so yeah, so basically all the student feedback been taken. We have done a nonlinear regressions and all sorts of things, and then to minimize the heuristics on deciding the subject on award to minimize the subjectivities. So after all these careful things, IIT Hyderabad is a proud moment for us to announce the 12 for this year's academic excellence, and I'm honored to announce the name. And congratulations to all of you. So Dr. Parag Dinesh Pawar from Chemical Engineering. Dr. Rogers Matthew, Computer Science and Engineering. Dr. Praveen Arvind Babu Tammana, Computer Science and Engineering. Dr. Jay Prakash from Chemistry. Dr. Surendra Kumar Martha, chemistry. Mr. Delvin Judo Remedios, design. Dr. Muhammad Sahid, design. Congrats. Dr. Aditya Siripuram, electrical engineering.
Thank you.
Dr. Shiva Kumar, electrical engineering. Dr. Shayak Banerjee, mechanical and aerospace engineering. Dr. Niranjan Srinivas Gassias, mechanical and aerospace engineering. Dr. Prinaki Prasad Bhattacharya, material science and metallurgical engineering. Congratulations. Thanks a lot. Congratulations to all our winners.
Thank you, sir. I now call upon Dean Faculty, Professor Kanchana V, to announce the Faculty Research Excellence Awards and our Chief Guest, Mr. Gopalakrishnan, to kindly do the honors.
Thank you, Purvika. Good evening, everyone, and it gives me immense pleasure to announce the Faculty Research Excellence Awards. And we have 6 awards, and it has been divided between engineering and science stream, 4 for engineering and 2 for science and humanities. We nearly had more than 35 nominations, and it was very difficult and a tough task to arrive at 6. And it has been done by an expert committee set up by Director Professor Murthy. And it is indeed a great proud moment for all the winners. And here are the winners in engineering. Dr. Surendranath Somla from Civil Engineering. Dr. Abhinav Kumar from Electrical Engineering. Announce and I will say. Dr. Josnelagiri from Biomedical Engineering. Unfortunately, he is not available today and will be receiving it later. And Professor Kishalai from Chemical Engineering. Yeah, here are the winners in Science and Humanities. Dr. Mahati Chitam from Liberal Arts. Professor Tarun Panda from Chemistry. Hearty congratulations to all the award winners and thank you.
Moving on to the last set of awards for the evening, I now call upon Dean Admin, Professor Raja Banerjee, to announce the Staff Excellence Awards.
It's a pleasure for me to announce the award winners for the Staff Excellence Award for the year 2022. We had several nominations across different departments, sections, and also we considered the Employee of the Month in awardees for the last 12 months. So out of that, we have 4 award winners. So first is Mr. Vijay Kumar. He is a technician in the Department of Chemistry.
Timothy is not there. They are referring will receive.
Sure.
Timothy.
Next is Mr. Timothy. He is a multi-skill assistant from the FNS section, but I understand he is not available today. So GRFND is receiving the award on his behalf.
He's our chair.
Next, we have Mr. B. Pradeep Babu. He is executive assistant in the department in the academic section. And Ms. S.V. Sridevi, section officer in the HR section. A hearty congratulations to all the winners.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, dignitaries. We now come close to the end of the event, and I now call upon Dean Students, Professor P. Rajalakshmi, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening to one and all. On behalf of all students, faculty and staff, I'm glad to express the vote of thanks. A special thanks to Mr. Chris Gopalakrishnan, who has accepted our invitation and be the chief guest today for this Foundation Day, 14th Foundation Day. And a special thanks to our guest of honor, Dr. BVR Mohan Reddy, our beloved chairman, UOG, and faculty, staff, and students of IIT Hyderabad who had made this event a great success. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I request everyone to kindly rise for the national anthem. Janaganamana Adhinayaka Jaya Bhagya Vidata Pancham Chala Jaladi Taranga Tava Shubha Name Jage Tava Shubha Shisha Mange Gahe Tava Jaya Data Bhagya Vidata Jaya 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 He. With the kind consent of our respected director, we now declare the event closed. Thank you all for joining us today.